Hello, and welcome to Region Locked. Sega's popular Valkyria series has resonated with a Western audience. This might have something to do with its first title establishing a war-torn world not too different from our own. With added fantasy elements and a unique combat system, it was well received on the PlayStation 3 in 2008. In 2010, a direct sequel was released worldwide for the PSP, which was followed by a third game in 2011, also on the PSP. However, the third title never saw release outside of Japan, so today we'll be taking a look at Valkyria Chronicles 3. Valkyria Chronicles 3 kept many of the mechanics of its predecessors, but also made several adjustments to improve the accessibility for newcomers. The Valkyria games feature a combination of both real-time and tactical roleplay elements that come together to form the Blitz system. The player is assigned missions and must then plan out a team of units for the assignment. During battles, the player can select a unit they wish to move from an overview of the map. Moving units will deplete the action gauge, limiting the distance that they can travel. To complete the unit's movement, a single action can be performed. While a unit can be selected and given a command multiple times, this will limit the other units for the player's turn. Using a unit multiple times will provide the player with a smaller amount of action gauge with each consecutive selection. The game has 5 types of unit: Scouts, Shock Troopers, Engineers, Lancers, and Armored Soldiers, with each having tactical benefits over the others. After each mission, the player is able to bolster their squad by spending their money and experience points. A total of 9 units can be dispatched on a mission, with many characters having their own unique skills known as potentials. These potentials define the character as a unique soldier within each fight, and can provide both positive and negative effects in battle. However, a unit's battle potentials are skills that can be learned and honed throughout the game, allowing them to grow as a soldier. Some characters also have special abilities that only they are able to perform. The game's plot takes place during the Second European War, paralleling the events of Welkin's squad in the first game of the series. The player follows Kurt Irving, Imke, and Riella Marcellis, who are assigned to Squad 422, known by many as the Nameless. They're what's known as a penal military unit, comprised of deserters of foreign armies and criminals whose names are stricken from records and have no identification besides a number. The unit is ordered by the Gallian military, often tasked to perform the most dangerous missions that are refused by the militia and the army. With the motto, Altahar Abilia, meaning always ready, the team are forever willing to accept a mission against all odds. The team is made up of Soldier 7, Kurt Irving, previously an army officer with hopes of redemption after being falsely accused of treason. Soldier 1, Imke, a Darkson heavy weapons specialist looking for revenge against the Valkyria that destroyed her home. And there's Soldier 13, Riella Marcellis, a young woman unknowingly of Valkyria descent. The squad's major task is to combat against an Imperial unit shrouded in mystery known as the Calamity Raven, primarily consisting of Darkson soldiers. Many of the higher-ups within the Gallian army will send the team on missions that could reflect poorly on Gallia if the mission goes wrong. This is because the squad is off the records, and the higher-ups have plausible deniability if the squad is discovered or commits any collateral damage. This has many effects during the war, leading to successful incursions, but also has some dire consequences for the people within the unit. Many consider the third entry in the Valkyria series to follow a much darker tone. The trilogy's musical composer, Hitoshi Sakimoto, stated that several of his original compositions for the game's theme were rejected. He had to rework the theme roughly 7 times, and even adjusted individual pieces of it with a synthesizer before bringing it all together again. He wanted the battle theme to give players a sense of a modern battle, and remove any fantasy elements from the scenario by including modern instruments. The instruments would work together to create atonality, meaning a lack of functional harmony or central tone. This description and style is thematically similar to the Nameless unit, being made up of many different chaotic members that are hard to define. The team began work on the third iteration in the series as soon as development had concluded on the second. They felt they could refine mechanics that had been developed in Valkyria Chronicles 2, now that they had experience with the PSP. During a Q&A session, producer Shinji Motoyama stated that he doesn't have any preference when it comes to platform, but understands fan desires for a new entry on a home console. However, he concluded, when selecting platform, we have to make careful consideration, and with this, the reality was that we couldn't easily advance on the PS3. However, I want to say one thing. As developers, we absolutely did not want to make a PS3 version that simply reused the materials and engine from Valkyria 1. Takeshi Ozawa, the game's director, also stated that the development staff consider the third entry to be the first sequel in the series. This is due to the difficulties found when transitioning to the PSP hardware from the PS3. The team had to work through a lot of trial and error before finding a comfortable working environment, which they felt affected the quality of the second game. With the third game on the PSP, the team could use the knowledge that they had gained to improve on areas they felt were substandard. Sega's manager of console sales, Hiroshi Seno, confirmed at the end of 2011 that the third Valkyria game would not be receiving an international release. The reason behind this was the unpopularity of the PSP platform in North America and Europe. To be able to justify a translation effort, the second entry in the series would have needed to sell enough copies to justify the costs involved, which it did not. However, an unofficial fan translation began development only a few months after this statement was made. After 2 years of production, the translation patch was completed, and now allows users to play through the Extra Edition version of the game in English with ease. That's all for today, but if you're interested in more Region Locked, why not watch our video on Sega's Sega Gaga, a really bizarre game by Sega. We'll be streaming some of Valkyria Chronicles 3 over on our other channel on YouTube. If this video has been out for a while, we won't be streaming anymore, but why not follow us on there anyway to keep up with our future content. My name is Dazz, and this has been Region Locked. Special thanks to my good friend Alex for reintroducing me to the Valkyria series.